Creativity and Kuchipudi go together. In fact, the Brahmin saint Siddhendra Yogi is believed by many to be the father of the art that flourished in Kuchipudi village, that put it as a significant presence on the cultural map of India, and several centuries later was responsible for giving the classical dance form that came out of the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh the name of Kuchipudi. Legends has it that he studied Vedic knowledge at Udupi. A little threatening experience resulted in him promising that he would give his life for the propagation of bhakti if he was saved. He dedicated himself to his promise and renounced the world, becoming a sannyasi. He was well versed in the principles of the Sanskrit text, including the Natya Shastra, and therefore, when he saw a dream in which Krishna asked him to create a dance drama on Parijatapaharan as a tribute to his beloved wife Satyabhama, Siddhendra Yogi could easily write Bhama Kalapam, his beautiful kavya in the Yakshagana tradition, as an opera that included song, dialogue and dance. He then came to Kuchalapuram, the village of actors, which today we know by the name of Kuchipudi, and asked them to perform the work as a dance drama as an offering to Lord Krishna, reinforcing the fact that Krishna prefers performance as offering rather than ritual. Already, the Nritya Ratnavali of Jayappa Nayaka referred to the Brahmana Mela performed by male Brahmins and the Natuva Mela by women. Therefore, at all Brahmin male performance was quite the norm. What wasn't the norm was the emergence of the Kalapam in the performance, in a manner that was so closely identified with Natya Shastra. Also unique was the fact that thereafter much of the creative energies of the present day Kuchipudi gets inseparably linked to the village of Kuchipudi. The second aspect is the fact that some of its items are unique and defining. If one begins with the aforementioned Bhama Kalpakam or Siddhendra Yogi, the balance between the Nritya and Natya elements, the seamless weaving in the four Abhinayas, Angikam, Vachikam, Aharyam and Satvikam, the masterful mixing of the elements of Shringara and Rasa with dolovs of the Navarasas, including Bhakti, Shringara and the sheer drama of Satyabhama's Pravesh, Daru with the Jadabharatam contribute with the magnificence of the work. Another of the unique items is the Ardhanarishwara Shabdam, performed in a Bahupriya mode. The third unique item is Taranga, based on a great literary work, but reinforced by the unique scholastic movement on the rim of the brass plate. Fourthly, the Kautavam has beautiful literature embellished with artistry and movements that create images. Finally, the Kuchipudi technique was able to blend the straight-laced classical with the vivacity of the Desi to inscribe a zest and joy the vivre in the moment. Its unsophisticated directness, its exquisitely earthy sensuousness, its fluidity and the element and quality of surprise is the result of the inclusion of the Desi feature. The major change in traditional Kuchipudi dance is the evolving of the solo system, with female dancers performing on stage. The development was started by Vedantam Lakshminarayana Shastri about 40 years ago. Actually, the first decade of the 20th century were uncertain times for the arts scholars of Kuchipudi. M. Nagabhushan Sharma attributed it to the fact that traditional arts were going out of public patronage. The reason for this were, according to him, the new education system totally divorced from the traditional arts. A new awareness, alien influences, and the typical Indian attitude to embrace anything novel. Hitherto, patronage followed a particular pattern. Each artistic form served a particular socio-religious role in a given milieu and served established goals. As performance was a socio-religious ritual, in this scenario, the group was more important than the individual and subscribed to caste and religious lines. In the group versus individual debate of modernity, the only hope that the arts had was if they were to go solo. Thus, there was hope only for art endeavors driven by individual brand names. This necessarily was more in the case of classical arts and more in the more prosperous and glamour-oriented urban centers. Kuchipudi too witnessed a similar scenario and was compelled to respond. Its forced response played out three ways. Each of them revealed a creative impulse kicking in and hence are important in the discussions. Firstly, all five Kuchipudi melams came together under Chinta Venkataramayya in the Venkatarama Natya Mandali, with the Chinta himself providing artistic leadership and direction. Because of its affinity with the Yakshagana, the Kuchipudi technique has in it some basic elements of Desi or folk art. It was Chinta Venkataramayya who made the Yakshagana version popular by sharpening it towards the prevailing sensibilities. The case of Bhama Kalapam posed a different challenge. Although the enactment of Bhama was a solo performance or a fascinating case study, its religious overtones, the degree of its in-depthness, its exceedingly wordy nature, and the disappearance of its connoisseurs, as well as the dwindling number of its patrons, pointed to the reality that although the most frequently learned pieces, ensuring thereby the largest numbers of performers, only the best could hope to survive. Hence, Vempati Venkataramayya, who also known as Satyabhama of the Kali Yuga, adept as Laya and Jatis, was pretty much about the only to survive well. Some of the writers took to streets in Pagati Veshalu and the role playing in the day. Pagati is daytime, Veshalu role playing. They converted their art dressing as different characters, much like the Bahurupiya, into the street version of Kuchipudi. But for the large number of artists that were suddenly unable to earn a livelihood, Vedantam Lakshminarayana Shastri provided an option. It was he who created a new tradition of Kuchipudi dance caste in a solo format. It was because his success at the endeavor that the scintillating glory of Kuchipudi dance is today part of the classical Indian dance tradition. Again, it was because of the success that the name of Kuchipudi village became an essential part of the cultural story of the post-colonial India. Again, it is thanks to him that generations of traditional performers were able to retain a livelihood from the traditional knowledge of even their own original source of patronage dried up. At an early age, Lakshminarayan Shastri was exposed to the Mejwani of Kelika performance of the Devadasis and Kalabantalus. He realized that even though the Kuchipudi and the Devadasi traditions looked different, they had a common source, the Natya Shastra, with one belonging to the Bhagavatam tradition and the other to the courtly tradition. An inveterate traveler, he also saw a number of Bharatanatyam dancers and was impressed not just with their repertoire but also its logical unfolding and the orderly presentations. He appreciated their composition, embellished as they were with complex jatis and rich abhinaya. Thus inspired, around 1937, he first began composing items in Kuchipudi. With this, he changed the Ekartha style to the Prithagartha style of the series of individual items disconnected with each other. In recognition of his contribution, the renowned Kuchipudi guru Vempati Chinnasatyam, who had also learned from him, claimed that what the Tanjore quartet has done, Lakshmi Narayan Shastri has achieved single-handedly for Kuchipudi. Today's Kuchipudi owes him much, he acknowledges. His first disciple was Vempati Peda Satyam, the elder brother of Vempati Chinna Satyam. Shastri was a master of Telugu classic padas, Kirtana of Tyagarajas, Sanskrit shlokas from Kalidasa, songs from the Adhyatma Ramayana, shlokas from the Krishna Karnamrita, Narayana Tirtha's Tarangams, besides the traditional songs of the Yakshagana and Bhagavatam tradition. Garnering this knowledge, he built a repertoire of hundreds different compositions with a classical bias. Next came the challenge of developing a style of his own. He used his son Jagannatha Sharma and his disciple Tandava Krishna as his laboratories for solo and duet compositions. From traditional Bhagavatam repertoire, he recast material to create two composite and structurally strong compositions, Radha Krishna and Shiva Parvati, weaving into them padams, Sanskrit shlokas, tandakams and Telugu pallavis. In 1944, Shastri was considered to be an expert on the padams of Kshetraya. But his repertoire of padams far exceeded just Khetaya padams. But when exactly his interest in the Khetaya padams developed is not known. But it can safely be surmised that it was from the Devadasis that he picked it up. He was ironical, therefore, when the Devadasis returned to him for training themselves, even Balasaraswati was associated with him. On his part, he never missed a Mejavani, and even the Devadasis wanted him to attend, for if he appreciated them, then it would be tantamount to a certificate. Scholar M. Nagabhushan Sharma claims that he developed such a strong love for demonstration and contextualization each padam that to explain them he created a performance manual for each composition that he choreographed. He called them Jatakam or horoscopes of the songs. The Jatakam contained details of the ragas used, the talam used, the types of heroines, their avasthas, vibhavas and anubhavas, the word hasta linkages, etc. This helped the discipline to nuance on their own to any degree and length of time, and later become better teachers, for he had taught them the formula. Even Balasaraswati appreciated this creative imagination in creating the Jatakams. He was the first to teach in an institutional context as he joined the Azad school in Machilipatnam. That was started on nationalistic lines. A dance teacher post in a school was a new phenomenon, and he was the first such teacher in this region. Later, he gave this position to one of his students. Students began to flock to him to learn solo items, and he had developed a large repertoire of songs rich in sahitya and varied in its emotional content. He had an astonishing collection of different items, each quite dissimilar from the other. His repertoire included Puja Nrityam or Padavartanam, Varnam, Swarapallavi, Jatiswaram, Javali, Shlokas and the Adhyatma Ramayana, Tyagarajas Kirtanams, Tarangams and Ashtapadis.
The lingual scape included Sanskrit, Telugu, Tamil, Hindi and even Marathi. His most popular Marathi song was Radhika Ramana. He had built each of the over 100 items in his repertoire in composite manner. He enriched the songs with jatis for more advanced and complex than those used in Yakshagana, and the artistic and judicious use of Tiramanams. The Konagolu and the Jati elaborations were embodied not just with Laya but also Bhava. He employed a vast range of mudras in quite quick succession to suit the enactment of a single idea. He had a special skill with Hasta Abhinaya, even at the Mukhabhinaya and the Satvika Bhava. Thus, with the Hastabhinaya, he was able to maximize the textual richness and depict even those thoughts and connections left unsaid in the literature. He used a range of hastas for the Hastabhinaya he was justly famous for. Some were Shastrik mudras derived from the text, some were Prakritik mudras derived from nature, and some were Lokadharmi mudras derived from the world around us. He extensively used the skills of Manodharma or the creative growth of an idea in Abhinaya. As he knew the Shastras, he was able to go to the roots of the things, and he used his intuitiveness to decide on what would work and what would not. The challenges of teaching Pada Abhinaya was the fact that his performing students till then were all male. The cross-gender artistry demanded from a male student required exaggerated feminism, and getting the right proportion was always challenged. He began toying with the idea of a female student, and by 1944 he was making concrete steps in this direction. It was a symbiotic relationship. He was famed for his solo work, but he had to continue to create a sole repertoire for his ever-growing band of students, which soon had a woman students as well. The dress that he designed and got stitched for his first student, Kanchanamma, is the dress that today's Kuchipudi dancers wear with a few modifications. His talent and effort at breaking new grounds in every possible manner in dance from Kuchipudi were being noticed in 1948. The Madras government and the citizens of Madras honored him with Simmatalatam and the title Kuchipudi Natya Kalanidhi. It is a pity that in 1958, Kuchipudi's recognition as a classical dance at the dance seminar was dismissed by Rukmini Devi, who claimed that it was but a derivative from Bharatanatyam. He was invited to the conference at the Kshetriya festival in Muva in 1951 and held the leading scholars and artists awestruck with his performance. Among the well-known pieces that are still danced are the Puja Nrityams, and a long list of these padams is available in the text. Interestingly, he added to the traditional mode of the Guru Shishya Parampara an item based on teaching system, somewhat like the gurus of today do. According to this system, the student paid him a course fee for each course comprising of a fixed number of items from his repertoire. Joshila Sriratna Shastri, his student, also claimed that it was he who first used the violin in Kuchipudi.
The role of Nataraja Ramakrishnan, who lived from 1923 to 2012, is also very important when we talk about the creativity in Kuchipudi. Not from a traditional artist family, Nataraja Ramakrishnan was drawn strongly to dance. He had dallied with Bharatanatyam and Kathak before he began to engage in the great gurus and the Kalavanthalus of the land. He was trained by the Devadasis and also by Lakshmi Narayana Shastri. He joined Visa Apparao at the National Drama and Dance Seminars, extremely cut up by the decision of not granting Kuchipudi as a classical status. He drove the recognition of the form through seminars that were organized at a regional level and by pursuing the Andhra Pradesh Sangeet Natak Academy to advocate for it. He was a scholar as well, for he had studied the text including Natya Shastra, the Abhinaya Darpana and the local text dating from the Kakatiya period, Nritya Ratnavali, written by Jayappa Senani, the commander of the Kakatiya armies. Familiar with the tradition of dance in the region past and present, he discovered many other forms of the region that he put under the rubric of Andhra Nrityam. These included Navajanardana Parijatam. Navajanardana Parijatam was one such form and Perini Tandav was another. Navajanardana Parijatam was on the lines of Brahma Kalapam, but was traditionally performed for 9 nights at the 9 Janardana temples of the East Godavari district. He learned this ritual dance from the Devadasis, who would perform it and thus became the first male to dance it. Later, he taught it to his disciple Kalakrishnan, who performed it even today in Strivesham in throwback on the Kuchipudi tradition of transgender artistry. The other dance that Nataraja Ramakrishnan discovered was Perini Tandava, which he revived by cross-referencing between the Nritya Ratnavali and the images carved in the Kakatiya period Ramappa temple at Warangal. The dance consists of powerful articulation and chanting of slokas accompanied with fast footwork. It was done by the Veerashaiva community. A diluted form has survived and was practiced as part of the Shiva pilgrimage. But Nataraja Ramakrishnan's fascination for the relationship between sound and movement and his study of the Shastras as well as the Nritya Ratnavali helped him recreate it into an awe-inspiring dance. He also raised the status of the art Kalavantulu like Saridde Manikamma by framing the brilliance of their Abhinaya tradition. Another dancer who must be mentioned for the creativity she showed is linking the music tradition in the north and the south was Korada Narasimha Rao. Born outside of a tradition of our artist's family, he learned from a number of teachers before he set up his own group and travelled up north. Here, he experimented with North Indian ragas like Malakams in the Dashavatara Shabdam. He danced with Yamini Krishnamurti and was much sought after by other female dancers of his times, each of whom had learnt from a few items. Like Indrani Rahman and Rita Devi, he was declared the best dancer in stiff competition organized by UNESCO. Finally, one must dwell on the contribution of Vempati Chinnasatyam on the spirit of creativity in Kuchipudi. Vempati had 3 great influences on his work. The first was the Devadasis, whom he saw dancing with such finesse. The second was Lakshmi Narayana Shastri, who cast it into solo mode, created structurally strong compositions and used poetry of many varieties. The final influence on Vempati was Chinnasatyam was that his brother Peda Satyam, from whom he absorbed skills in group compositions. To Vempati Chinnasatyam goes the credit of moving the newly cast format to group format. His skill at working with a group was evident from the time he choreographed Krishna Sagara Shayanam for the Siddhendra Kalakshetram located at the Kuchipudi village.
It had a Vempati Chinna Satyam as Shiva, Yamini Krishnamurti as Mohini, and Vedanta Krishnamurti as Dhanvantari. Later, he set up a center in Hyderabad that his disciple Shobha Naidu ran before she went independent, and the center at Chennai that he took care of personally. The many dancers who emerged from these two centers are found all around the world. Thus, the international footprint of Kuchipudi owes a lot to Vempati Chinna Satyam, just as the international footprint of Odissi owes a lot to Guru Kelucharan Mahapatra. One of the Vempati Chinna Satyam's biggest contribution has been Sausthavam of the dance body. He did away with the exaggerated ubukku, the bobbing practiced by the male dancers who performed female roles, and that had still remained. He preferred a more delicate and natural torso movement which reflected an internalized rhythm without taking recourse to foot stomping. He also did away with the scissor-like crossfit stance, Karatari Nritya, preferring a more aesthetic position. Authors and critic Lila Venkataraman draws attention to the fact he used gamanas to dramatize exits and entries. The entry of the dancers was often visualized in 3 speeds for better impact. He also introduced jatis, charis, abhinaya and nrityahastas mentioned in the Natya Shastra. It must be flagged here that the Natya Shastra was being seen as a prescriptive and not the descriptive text purported to bring. In fact, reciting the shlokas from the text was made a part of the dance.
Vempati's work had a sophistication of the musical structure. The dancers seemed to be mouthing the songs in a throwback to the Vachika days. He borrowed extensively from other traditions as different as the Pagati Veshalu or Harikatha. When accused of distorting tradition, he began to compose on his own from scratch. His support team included Bhujangaraya Sharma, who wrote the libretto, and the Sangeeta Rao, who composed the music. Together, they enhanced the impact of raga music in Kuchipudi, taking it way beyond the hold of a few ragas like Mohana or Bhairavi, Mukhari and Arabi, and incorporating more unusual ragas from the Hindustani and classical traditions. The CJPCs of ragas was determined by the mood to be depicted. His add-on ragas from the Hindustani tradition include Jaunpuri, Bilaskhani, Bilaskhani Todi, Rageshwari, Pahadi, etc. Thus, Kuchipudi has evolved into an almost new form, enveloping within its fold new techniques. It has greatly enriched itself. Yet, all the while, it has taken care to retain the essential features of its traditional forms. Philosophical in character and deeply emotional in its dramatic presentation, the graceful fluid style of Kuchipudi possesses an abundance and variety that it has drawn out from its own heritage, proving the point that Vempati Chinna Satyam was ever making, that tradition was not a stagnant pool